then human dignity says treat that person, and that's what the law then requires. And so, yes, there's a portion of a percentage that of the budget then that goes towards that. But the research that I've seen is that that's even like less than 1% of the entire Medicaid budget. And do we want to be a country where before we decide if somebody lives or dies, we ask where you from?
Right. Right.
And so that's really, and so it's a non-issue, or some people say it's a red herring. And what's really wanted to be done is to really do a money grab again. And so, not glad about this at all, but we have, people have to stand for something. And hopefully, though, this will get worked out. Someone will, quote unquote, blink. The president will blink and his people will blink and realize that we can't go down that road.
Absolutely. We got a caller. Good morning, Pop Jones. How are you? Good morning.
Well, and Dr. Sanders, how y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. It's always so much going on. I tell you, got me going in circles.
Yep.
Yeah. What I wanted to address, I served in the military, and most of my flying days was in the military. I care nothing about flying. I'll catch a train or go in an automobile. I only would fly if I have to.
Yeah.
But I remember when I think it was Reagan fired the traffic
air traffic
the
control
planes. Traffic controllers, and we've been having a problem ever since. And anybody, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but when the great John Lewis said, if you see something, say something. And y'all, you and Dr. Sanders, I know y'all frequent flyers and stuff. Man, that's a wham damn doodle.
Yeah.
All those planes in the air at the same time like that. And man, that could easily cause a catastrophe. And been having a problem ever since he fried and said that's a hard job to be trained for. And I guess there's not a whole lot of people waiting in line to take that job.
Mm-hmm.
So you put the people in danger. Now here comes somebody else do the same thing. We got even less air controller or traffic controllers. So that makes it worse. What is being done to help the people? Look like everything that's being done is against the people.
Well, so much of it, Pop, does seem to be against the people. Both sides are making arguments that they know what's best for the people, and that they're saying the path to go is what we're looking at. So the Democrats are saying we don't trust you based on your recent actions and past actions. The Republicans are saying just approve the continuing resolution and we'll end the shutdown, and then we'll talk about these health care and other things that you all are so concerned about.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are saying, no, let's talk about that now because you have shown that you are not really for the people. And the Republicans are saying we are for the people, and that's why we need to deal with this now, end the shutdown, and talk about it later. So those are two very different philosophical approaches to what we're dealing with right now.
People, what people are they talking about?
Well, that's the thing.
I want to know.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. What
like
people are they talking about?
That's
Somebody
right. What people?
Somebody from another country or something. It don't seem like they're talking about America. All right.
Yep.
We hear you.
Well, as
all right, gentlemen. I
right.
just, you know me. I just ask a hard question. I
Yes,
don't know.
sir.
I'm learning from WB. Glad to see you back, Dr. Sanders, where's the chief?
Chief is out today. He's out. He's got another gig that he's doing.
Okay.
So he's out
all
yesterday and today.
All of y'all, look, all the hosts on WBOK stays busy all the time.
Yeah, right.
There's not no one show. What you say how that go out? You know how that go. Y'all
One
always
monkey don't stop no show.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Dr. Sanders, his plate is always full.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
but it's good to be here this morning.
Well, when you pastor,
when
you're pastoring a flock.
Good talking to y'all. All right.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Right.
He's on
when
it.
When you're pastoring a flock and educating young folks and educating some older folks who are going back to school, you got a lot going on. And there's the family life.
That's right.
Oh, and there's the community involvement.
Want to stay married here too. And
Yep. So
thankfully, my childrens are raised already, though.
That's right.
So some of them sometimes you still want some cash flow,
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Is it time for you have to go to break, or we good?
Well, I think we're gonna be going to break, Mr. Nairn. I think we're gonna be ready after the break, right? Okay. So stand by, folks. You are listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422. Once again, 504-582-9422. Coming up after the break, we are going to hear from our friend Michael Williamson, CEO of United Way of Southeastern Louisiana. He's going to be talking about World Mental Health Day. And a little later in the show, we're going to hear from the folks at LSU Health New Orleans. And, of course, we've got news and info you want to know, should know, must know. And we want to hear from you. So give us a ring, 504-582-9422. And, of course, you can connect with us on Facebook Live. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
All day long.
Good morning and happy Monday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. New Orleans police are investigating a shooting on Francis Drive that injured a man. Investigators say he was shot in the leg around 6:30 last night and taken to a local hospital. Right now, there is no word on his condition or if a suspect has been identified. If you know anything about this case, call Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111. Then we have learned a crash on the causeway on Friday was fatal. According to Causeway Police, a 60-year-old man in the passenger seat of an SUV that was rear-ended has died. Investigators say his heart stopped during the collision. We're told CPR was given on the bridge and that man was taken to a hospital where he later died. And finally, some good news. Victory at last. The Saints are waking up winners, securing their first win of the season yesterday afternoon against the New York Giants. The black and gold dominated the second half inside the Dome, ending the game with 5 takeaways. Sunday's final 26-14. Next up for the Saints, they host the New England Patriots at home. They will then travel to Chicago to play the Bears and then return home to play their NFC South foe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Anyone who started a business can tell you how difficult it can be to get the capital they need. But for Black entrepreneurs, it's proven to be far more challenging. Based on research from Accenture, Black founders receive only about 1% of funding from venture capital investors. That means there are very few venture capital-based startups with Black leaders that end up successful. One exception is World Remit, founded by Ismail Ahmed. He's chairman of Britain's very first Black-owned startup with a value of more than £1 billion. His advice to Black entrepreneurs looking to gain capital? Stay positive.
Stay positive in the face of adversity. It's going to be a lot tougher to raise money, but I think you want to be persistent and recognize that we don't hear a lot of those stories, but a lot of successful stories.
A positive mental outlook might not solve everything, but it can help a Black entrepreneur weather the storms that'll come when trying to get their business off the ground. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time. Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Our city thrives when every business has a fair chance. But when it comes to promoting equality, Helena Moreno has been anything but fair. In 2024, Moreno blocked a properly awarded sanitation contract to Black-owned Henry Consulting, giving the deal instead to a political supporter. Moreno opposed extending Richards Disposal's contract after nearly 20 years of service. It cost us $19 million more, all so she could favor a political ally. This year, Moreno refused to renew a 12-year marketing contract with the Black-owned Spirits Group. Moreno even refused permits for 4 Black-owned restaurants to locate in New Orleans East. And when one of the city's most transformative projects went to a vote, Moreno refused to fund the city's 50% share of the Black-owned Bayou Phoenix development. There's a warning. Moreno plays politics. Our city pays the price. Paid for by People for a Better New Orleans PAC.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. You are listening to WBOK 1230 AM. I am Will Sutton, and with me is pastor, preacher man, full professor, historian.
Stop it. Good morning. Good to be here.
and good doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yes.
And we're jumping into conversation at 7:29 a.m. with our friend Michael Williamson, CEO of United Way of Southeast Louisiana. They cover 7 parishes. That's Jefferson, Orleans, Plaquemines, St. Bernard, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa,
and Washington.
Washington.
Sir.
Okay.
Woo!
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
All right. And but they have some great ongoing work year round. It's not a once or twice a year kind of thing. They're on the ground. These days we like to say boots on the ground.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Doing the work. But they take time periodically to note some particular aspects of their work and tie-ins to other work. And so we're going to be talking about World Mental Health Day today. But first, Michael, how you doing?
I'm good.
Are
I'm
you
good.
good?
It's bright and early. It's
Yeah.
Tuesday morning. Made it through Monday.
That's right.
God is good.
All
Yeah.
right. Did the dogs wake you up?
The dogs are little. Well, she's not a pup anymore, but our pup. I guess she's probably a little bit. Did she was laying on my chest, looking at my face, saying, "It's time to get up about 4:30." And I'm like, "I'm ready. Let's go get a cup of coffee."
Yeah.
All right. So before we talk about World Mental Health Day, tell us a little bit, give us a little update on United Way of Southeast Louisiana. How are you all doing?
Well, I love the fact that you use the phrase "boots on the ground" because United Way of Southeast Louisiana, we do believe in being boots on the ground and also moving at the speed of need. And so, in your relation to this week, this Friday, we'll be honoring World Mental Health Day. And so we thought it was a good opportunity to kind of talk about the work we're doing around mental health, knowing that across the country, many communities are in crisis. But I'm proud to say that with the help and support of Councilman Joe Geruso and Dr. Rochelle Head Dunham from Metropolitan Human Services District, in 2022 we launched the New Orleans Mental Health Collaborative to begin to address the mental health challenge. So I'm glad to be with you and talk about it. And that's a part of a lot of other work we do, but it's all really connected to the struggle that families are having that we call ALICE, asset limited, income constrained, but employed, hardworking families that are struggling financially. When you struggle financially, that can impact your mental health, your physical health, all the other aspects of your life.
Yeah. I want to thank you for with the work that y'all are doing at United Way as a former nonprofit person myself, and back United Way back in the early '90s, and the relationship with agencies sometimes was contentious and all of that. Who's going to get the money and all that kind of stuff. But I like the way they, for years now, you all have kind of organized yourselves around, how can we make the best collective impact and take on some serious issues, such as mental health specifically, and then the work you've done in anti-poverty with the ALICE work and the Prosperity Center and all of those things. So I really want to congratulate you and commend you on all those that kind of work. I'm a member of the New Orleans Mental Health Collaborative, as you know, and just recently, in fact, a project I'm involved with, the Friendship Bench, that they voted to be official partner with you all. So I'm excited about that. That leads me to, in terms of mental health and your focus, what led y'all to really recognizing that needed to be a particular focus? And then your involvement with, I know with these grants that you have, the Resolve NOLA work. Tell the community a little bit more about that. But first, what led to y'all recognizing, hey, as a philanthropic organization, this is something everybody needs to get behind?
Well, let me start by saying the fact that you've been involved with United Way since the 90s tells me whatever you do, whatever you drink, whatever you eat, I want some of it. Because clearly you've been tapping into the fountain.
Oh, thank you.
But listen, we've known historically that mental health is an issue in many communities, not just throughout our region, throughout the country. We know that folks that struggle with poverty and financial stability, it can be an even greater issue for the reasons I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've long funded organizations that work in that space, but it was really when Joe Geruso, a councilman, kind of put himself out there and talked about his own personal experience.
Yes.
People think successful lawyer, he's a councilman, like this person has the world at their fingertips, their family life is perfect, but he talked about the suicide of his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to use that as an opportunity to kind of create a calling to the community. We've got to do something about this for folks who lack access to the resources. And so that was the impetus for us to really kind of bring focus to the work. And we've done that through the New Orleans Mental Health Collaborative. And to your point, you're involved. And our objective is to pull together thought partners, practitioners, business leaders, nonprofits to talk about, well, who's doing what? How do we fill gaps? And use the Friendship Bench as an example, but how do we bring resources to community? And sometimes using very innovative, well-researched approaches like the Friendship Bench.
Yeah, well, thank you. And so talk about the Resolve NOLA impact grants.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, and what the kind of work that's been done with that.
Yeah, so we this is weird, but about 2 weeks after we determined we were going to launch the Mental Health Collaborative, we went out on a limb and submitted a federal funding request to the Federal Mental Health Agency, SAMHSA. And lo and behold, we got awarded the grant, which was going to provide $1 million a year over 4 years to our community, which is significant. Now, there's a higher power at work when that happened at such a rapid pace. And our objective with those resources was to marshal them and support organizations in the community that are doing the work. And the Resolve grants is an example for our attempt to do that. And I'm proud to say that Resolve, and I want to make sure we use acronyms a lot.
Right,
anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah, so trust me.
Yeah. It's good to revisit that.
Right. But Resolve stands for Resilient, Equitable Systems Overcoming Loss and Violence Everywhere. This is our second year. We provided 13 organizations just over $155,000 in grant support to support local programs like We Help NOLA and Puentes NOLA and others. And to date, we've awarded over $405,000 to a variety of nonprofits that are working on mental health. You know, we often talk about the grass tips versus the grassroots. These are grassroots organizations, smaller nonprofits that are in community, and we're really proud of the Resolve grant process and our ability to fund them.
Wow. Yeah.
So why is improving access to mental health like an important part of what you all are trying to do?
I would encourage, I'd encourage your listeners to think about those times when things just aren't right with your mental health. Now, we're not talking about mental illness, which is a separate and different thing that's treated differently. The mental health challenges are solvable, but when your mental health is not right, it makes it hard to work. It makes it hard to show up to work and give 100% because you're worried about other things. You could be experiencing depression or some other form of mental health challenge. And it makes it difficult to perform for your job, for your family, etc. And that's the struggle of Alice households. When folks are out there working hard, trying to make ends meet, but when they can't function to their full potential, it makes it difficult to go out there and earn a good living. And so we see mental health is health, first of all, but we see it as critical to helping build more financially stable, independent, and I would go so far as to say more resilient families. And so we're fully committed to it. It's it's a driver we know. And so we're committed to continue this work to ensure that folks have access. And I'll just say about that, we talk about the resources are out there, but oftentimes the resources aren't proximate to the need. In other words, you can't get to it. If you don't have a car, you don't have transportation, you don't have a ride, well, how do you get to see a therapist or a counselor or access a program for your child?
Yeah. And, I'm thinking about the role of philanthropy, United Way being a leader in our city historically as well as currently. But how has United Way's work affected other philanthropic organizations? We have several. I ain't gonna name them all on here, but you're a part of a philanthropic community, and has it had an impact on them in terms of their way of seeing and doing business, also in terms of this area?
Yeah, we've seen. We'll start with this too, because I often talk about United Way is really a concept. I mean, we have people and we have physical spaces to do the work, but it's really a concept or an idea. What happens when we all work together? And we've actually seen really good response from corporate and private philanthropy that see the work that we're doing, see the momentum we're building, and they want to invest as well. I think about our friends like Ron McLean over at Institute of Mental Hygiene, the Friendship Bench.
That's right.
Big supporter of that. But they've come to the table and said, well, how do we lean in and support the work that you're doing? And it may mean supporting work separately, but attached to or connected to the work that we're doing. So we certainly like to lead by example. And oftentimes in philanthropy, you're looking to see, well, who's doing what? Who's modeling what? Have they tried it? Are they successful? And then they'll follow because you've taken the risk. You put capital out there to try some ideas, and if they see it working, they'll bring their resources.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Councilman Joe Giarrusso and his leadership in developing the Mental Health Collaborative, and I know he's been here several times. but we want to give him a shout out. We know his days are few now as a council person of his own choice.
Maybe around 100.
And but I mean, he did it the right way in terms of while he's been in that chair, he's made a great impact. I know his district loves him, but for the work that he's done in mental health, all the mental health and social workers and psychiatrists, psychologists, and people who provide those, we are thankful for his leadership in bringing this issue really to public awareness at this time and really destigmatizing. That's another major issue is, the stigma. People don't mind saying, oh, I got hypertension. Oh, maybe even if I have cancer, but, people don't want to, I don't want everybody to know I'm depressed or I'm anxious. But, hey, that's, a thing too. And, if you don't claim it and call it out, you can't get help for it.
Right.
And so destigmatization is a big deal. So I want to thank him for his courage in doing that and his work.
He is, Joe, and I'm proud to say this publicly, he's a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
He put himself out there. He talked about a personal circumstance, to your point, to help destigmatize. Get people talking. Just listen, it's okay to talk about having a mental health struggle. That doesn't make you weak. Think about those guys out there, right? Like, it doesn't make you weak to
That's
talk
right.
about a mental health struggle, to be able to kind of call it out and address it. Actually makes you stronger. And I think you're a better example for young people when you do. And so can't say enough about Joe and his leadership. And also I'll say, like, Joe pushes us too. Move faster, do more, be better. Like, I have to credit him. Like, when things they're not moving as fast as he thinks they should be, he's willing to say, hey, Michael, let's check in on this. We really need to move this forward. So I appreciate that because we all need to be held to account and make sure that we're leaning on each other to actually get the work done. Because when we do, we're going to literally save lives.
That's right.
At the end of the day, that's why you're not always here. I know that's why many of us do the work that we do. Why you having us on this show to talk about the work, because you want to help people and save lives.
Yeah, and people like Simone Biles, when she took time off and from competing and said, hey, I need to take a break mentally. That did some people criticize her. Oh, but you're an athlete. You're this and that. You're supposed to be tough. Tough it out. It was like, I know I'm a person before I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
And people go through stuff, and we need to recharge, and we need to talk to other people. And I think she spread a great message worldwide, talking about World Mental Health Day. That especially that younger people could identify with and everything. And so we need those examples. Throughout the lifespan from childhood all the way to old age, like
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, folks.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the guy. I'm like, fountain of youth.
Yeah, right.
But sure, I think I think this is a call to action for all the folks in the community, especially leaders in community business and nonprofits, to talk openly about mental health, and talk openly about how do we collaborate and work together to address. This is not something that we can address alone. United Way alone cannot address this. We have to work in partnership with other funders. Think of the premier organizations. We have to do that. I'm a firm believer that collaboration is like an equation. 1 + 1 = 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we work together, we're going to get so much more. We're going to drive so much greater impact. And so, but it's great to have a focus on it. And hopefully that continues as people go through their days and weeks after World Mental Health Day, after Friday long passes. I hope folks are still talking about mental health and what we can do to improve it.
So what is success going to look like in the next year, 18 months, 2 years?
So, that's kind of what I call my magic wand. If I had a magic wand moment, if I had a magic wand, if I waved, we would have safer, more vibrant communities for all people. All people in our community would be financially stable and independent, living out the American dream the way they want to live it. Because we all define prosperity, I think, differently. My view may be different than others. Mm-hmm. But our hope is, and actually, ironically, and I think this is all interconnected, at our annual meeting in June, we launched our bold goal for Southeast Louisiana, and that's to help 100,000 ALICE individuals and families achieve pathways to prosperity by 2035.
Ooh,
so over the next 10 years.
That's pretty big.
But that's going to mean, embedded in that is really good mental health. Mm-hmm. People to be like, healthy physically, mentally, like us address our behavioral health issues. They're financially stable and independent, and hopefully on their pathway to prosperity.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah. How can people listening get involved? What can people do? To drive the work forward. Opportunities to either work with you or other organizations. What would you recommend?
So a few things. First of all, they've taken the first step. They're listening to the morning show.
All right.
All right.
So step one, check. But next is certainly you can follow United Way on social just to keep up with the work that we're doing. Just look for the handle United Way SCLA. So you can follow us on all things social. You visit our website at unitedwayscla.org. You can search mental health and the collaborative page will pop up. So there's a ways to follow what we're doing. But outside of that, find an organization that's addressing mental health in the community and offer your support as a donor, an advocate, or volunteer. You can do that with us too, but we realize it takes a village. And so we're encouraging folks to get out in the community, support your neighbors, support organizations that are working on these issues. When it comes time to vote and you see measures on the ballot or people you're going to put in positions of power, they're going to make decisions around like funding for your mental health, show up at the ballot box. Vote. We've got a mayor election coming up, and so where do your candidates sit on issues around mental health? Have they talked about it? And then be drawn to the one you think is going to help deliver. Like that civic duty and that superpower you have, which is the right to vote in this country, is something you can exercise, and that will open up the door to amazing opportunities and resources and collaboration.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. Little later in your early morning schedule, but we appreciate your time.
Bring the dogs next time.
Yeah,
No.
We appreciate your visiting with us and talking about World Mental Health Day, which is Friday, but of course, with the work that you all do, you care about mental health every day. So special emphasis this week and on Friday. Appreciate your coming in, helping us to think a little bit more about this, bringing it to our attention, and helping make the distinction that mental illness isn't all of mental health.
Yes.
So I know I have my days and my moments, and it's like, I'm going to have to find a way and bring myself back up, and in my case, say a little prayer and find a way back, because if I'm not as strong as I need to be, then I'm not as strong as I need to be for my wife, for my kids, grandkids, family, friends, and I got to do it.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Good Morning Show. Folks, you're listening to WBOK 1230 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. This is WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
After 28 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, Calvin Duncan established his innocence in a court of law. But Darren Lombard doesn't care about justice. He teamed up with Jeff Landry's attorney general to attack Calvin. They even sued him to stop him from talking about his innocence. According to Landry and Lombard, even if you're judged innocent, you're still guilty. Let's send Landry and Lombard a message. Vote number 7, Calvin Duncan.
Paid for by Calvin for Clerk.
New Orleans is an easy city to love. It shouldn't be a hard place to live. I'm Matthew Willard, born and raised in Gentilly, proud to carry on my family's tradition of public service. In less than 6 years, I passed 36 bills that made a difference. Now I'm running for City Council at Large Division 1 so we can keep living in the city we love. Safe, affordable, and one that gets the job done. New Orleans, let's make it happen. Paid for by the Matthew Willard Campaign.
You're invited to step back into New Orleans history for Community Day at the Dewdrop Inn with Tulane University's special collections, presented by the Primo Memorial Series. Saturday, October 18th from 12 to 2 p.m. Celebrate the Dewdrop Inn legacy with the live musical show. Enjoy a brunch buffet and explore archival materials. Free admission, but space is limited. For more information, visit library.tulane.edu/Dewdrop Community Day.
Our city thrives when every business has a fair chance. But when it comes to promoting equality, Helena Moreno has been anything but fair. In 2024, Moreno blocked a properly awarded sanitation contract to Black-owned Henry Consulting, giving the deal instead to a political supporter. Moreno opposed extending Richards Disposal's contract after nearly 20 years of service. It cost us $19 million more, all so she could favor a political ally. This year, Moreno refused to renew a 12-year marketing contract with the Black-owned Spirits Group. Moreno even refused permits for 4 Black-owned restaurants to locate in New Orleans East. And when one of the city's most transformative projects went to a vote, Moreno refused to fund the city's 50% share of the Black-owned Bayou Phoenix development. There's a warning. Moreno plays politics. Our city pays the price. Paid for by People for a Better New Orleans PAC.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton. I'm here with Dr. Torrin Sanders.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Glad
Thank
to have
you.
you here.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I like having you for this company. I know you got lots of other things going on.
That's all right.
Good to have you. Yes, Chief Eddie Compass is okay. He's got another gig that he's taking care of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But happy to have Dr. Sanders here with us. There are some news items that you might want to be aware of. One of those is that WDSU meteorologist Devin Lucy was placed on leave by his television station after his arrest early Sunday in what police are calling a domestic incident in Jefferson Parish. And according to those police reports, Lucy, who's 48, was booked on counts of domestic abuse, child endangerment, and resisting an officer by refusing to identify himself. So apparently this involves a longtime dating partner, and the woman and her kids were, I think, with her kids were at a festival, and an argument escalated that continued over at Lucy's home in Marrero. And according to the police report, Lucy did leave the home but returned, and there were punches thrown and that kind of thing. Of course, these things can be complicated.
Yes.
And we don't know exactly what happened. There's what is reported to the police may not be the full story, but certainly a prominent person who was named chief meteorologist at WDSU, Devin Lucy. So I guess being on leave, I guess he won't be on the air. We also had developments last night in the news. We have the announcement about the Louisiana Political Hall of Fame.
All right.
And there are going to be 8 more people inducted into the Hall of Fame. And that includes some people that you know. So I'm going to start with some folks that maybe you might not know. And then we'll get to some of the people that you do know. Hayward Hiller, the third, was a lawyer in New Orleans who spent more than 3 decades as a Republican Party supporter and participant. He really helped build the Louisiana GOP into some dominance in the state party politics. That included getting candidates in legislative districts and really helping the GOP build the backbone that we see today. And he is the father of Quinn Hillier, who is my colleague columnist at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. Another person who's being inducted is John Hill, who covered politics for more than 30 years. Down south, we might not know that name, but up north, he was an important name, somebody that people would follow his politics reports up in northern Louisiana. Also being inducted is Norma Jane Sebastian, who was chief of staff to U.S. Senator Mary Landrieu when she was in office. And she also helped manage political campaigns for Senator Landrieu. And she also worked with Mary Landrieu's brother, Mayor Mitch Landrieu, and former Senator Don Breaux. So she'll be recognized. But she died in 2023.
Yes.
So that happens sometimes. But glad to see her recognized. Also, a guy named John Hill, who I just mentioned, Norma Jane Sebastian, and Hayward Hillard. But a little closer to home for some of us, Ben Jeffers, veteran political consultant, deeply involved politics in Baton Rouge, but also chair of the Louisiana Democratic Party. And people might not remember that, but wasn't that long ago. But Mr. Jeffers was large and in charge.
And he was always around, Democratic governors, whether it was, Kathleen and Governor Edwards. He was always around.
Yep. And Clancy Dubose.
Yeah, everybody knows Clancy.
Political columnist, analyst, reporter, editor, the previously owner of Gambit. And he recently retired from the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. So with his 50 years plus, he's being recognized for all that he has contributed. And Sherman Copeland, name that we know around here, represented New Orleans in the State House from 1986 to 2000, and there's so much more that.
Yeah, exactly. I said that. That description does not do him justice.
Yeah.
He was a major player for many years during that time period, and probably before and after, in terms of the political landscape in New Orleans.
Yep.
Yes.
And our friend Ron Naborn, veteran political consultant for Mayor Sidney Bartholomew and so many others, politicians, didn't really want to be out front, but one of those guys behind the scenes, figure out and implementing strategy and getting some things done.
Yep. Knew how to get things done. Still knows how to get things done.
Absolutely. And speaking of Mayor Sidney Bartholomew, and he is being inducted into the Louisiana Political Hall of Fame as well. He was mayor from 1986 to 1994 and was 12 years on the city council and also in the state senate. And again, that's just a few things, but there are quite a number of things that he's done.
He really had. When I came to New Orleans, and I was in 1987 to go to school, and he was the mayor then. And of course, I'm a social worker, and Mayor Bartholomew was a social worker. He got his degree from Tulane, his master's degree in social work, and he actually got his start in politics from, through his internship, working there in city government and everything, and then of course had a tremendous career. I remember the campaigns. Jesse Jackson and he were very friendly, and Jesse would come down. Reverend Jackson would come down often and campaign for him, and those were some interesting times. Just those early years of black mayors, but he did what he had to do at the time. Some people criticized him, saying he was too not brash enough, not bold enough. Of course, you've compared him with Dutch. Perhaps he had a completely different mannerism and style, but he was his own person.
Indeed. So really nice to see that some of our own are being recognized, and others who have had impact on our communities, names that we know, and they'll get their honors in the spring. Again, Louisiana Political Hall of Fame inducting 8 more people, and those are the people that they have identified who will be inducted when the program takes place in late March of 2026. You're listening to the Good Morning Show. If you got somewhere to be at 8 o'clock, you are late. But maybe if you got somewhere to be at 8:15 or 8:20, you can still get there, depending on how far along you are with getting dressed and having your coffee and got your keys in your pocket or in your hands, ready to go. This is WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422. You're hearing our voices, and we would love to hear yours. Talk line once again, 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Texas GOP's push to close its primaries is facing delays. Party Chair Abraham George sued the Secretary of State after bills failed in the legislature.
More than 80% of the Republican primary voters want a closed primary.
A judge just granted an extension dragging out the legal fight ahead of the March election. Police in Houston, Texas have recovered a 6th body from the bayou in days, sparking fears of a serial killer. But officials tell KHOU and Houston Public Media there's no evidence linking the deaths. Experts say environmental and mental health factors may be to blame. And singer David is not off the hook for a teen girl's body found in a Tesla registered to him. No charges have been filed, and now his lawyer is speaking out, saying there's no evidence tying him to the death despite rumors. The LAPD and medical examiner are still investigating. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
New Schools for New Orleans is excited to announce that our Katrina 20 exhibit, After the Storm, 20 Years of Change and Progress in New Orleans Public Education, is now open to the public. You can experience this powerful look at how our schools have transformed since Katrina at the New Orleans Public School Library's main branch, 219 Loyola Avenue, during regular business hours, now through December. Bring your friends, family members, students, and colleagues. Looking for a group visit for your school or organization? Email us at info@nsno.org.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. It is 8:03 AM. You got somewhere to be at 8:10. You just might make it, depending on how far along you are with getting your things together. But remember, school is in session, so be safe when you're driving out there. Follow the speed limit and the school limits, and make sure that you get there safely, and make sure that others get where they need to go. The WBOK talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You're listening to Will Sutton and Dr. Torrin Sanders.
Good morning again.
You hear our voices, but we always would love to hear yours. And yes, Facebook fam, we see you there. And we know we had a few technical difficulties a little earlier, but We're up and firing on all 8 cylinders, and we are happy to have Dr. Richard DiCarlo, Dean of the LSU School of Medicine, with us today. So he's going to be talking with us about some exciting new money projects. We can't do much without money in a lot of areas.
To get money.
But this is his first time to WBOK. So family, welcome Dr. DiCarlo. And Dr. DiCarlo, who's your mama and dad? Tell us who you are.
Well, thank you for the welcome. I'm happy to be here. Who's my mom and dad? Well, I'm from New York. So my mom and them are from the Bronx, and I was born in the Bronx.
I'm a Bronx person.
All right, another Bronx person.
Yeah, I got that. What part of the Bronx? Come on now.
Well, I was up off of Pelham Parkway.
I'm Westchester Avenue, Soundview area.
Okay.
6 train.
So
yeah,
that's where I was born.
Yeah.
I grew up on Long Island. My family moved to Long Island when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
Went to college. I know here you talk about high school.
Right, yeah.
But up there we talk about college. Went to school outside of Philadelphia. And then moved to New Orleans in 1981 thinking this would be a good place to live for 2 years. So that was 44 years ago, and I never left. Went to medical school here, then really loved working at Charity Hospital, so I decided to stay for my training, and then they asked me to join the faculty, and I just stayed. It was a great place for my career, which is in infectious diseases. And one thing led to another. Now I'm the dean of the School of Medicine.
How about that? I guess they like you.
I guess they do. And I guess I like New Orleans.
Yeah, thank you for liking us. So you said Philadelphia. I was at Philadelphia Inquirer for a bunch of years.
Oh, were you?
Where were you outside of Philadelphia?
I was at Haverford College.
I know Haverford.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where I went to.
How long have you been dean?
Been dean since 2021.
Okay.
So,
during COVID.
So 4 years. So during COVID, we had a lot of transitions, and I became the interim dean, and then in 2021, and then the dean.
Oh,
right.
Good. Well, one of the big things that you're here to talk to us about is $14 million.
$14 million.
$14 million. That's with 2 federal grants for research on cancer, neuroscience, HIV/AIDS, and alcohol. That's some big bucks for some really important work. So how'd you land that? And what are you all going to be doing?
Well, it is big dollars. Those are 2 very, very big grants. And it's really a testament to our researchers who are doing some great work at LSU School of Medicine. So one grant by Dr. Patricia Molina, who is the chairman of the Department of Physiology, and she's also the Senior Associate Dean for Research in the School of Medicine, is a center grant. It's an NIH, the National Institute of Health Center grant, the Center for Alcohol Research. And that grant looks at the interaction between alcohol and HIV, and it looks at a lot of different interactions. So people who are living with HIV have a lot of other problems, and alcohol can have an effect on their immune system, have an effect on their metabolism, have an effect on their neurologic function, and so it really looks at that interaction for people who are living with HIV. So that's a big grant, $7.2 million over several years, and that's a renewal because we've had that grant for several years. We've really developed a lot of expertise in that area, and there are a lot of different researchers working on that project. So that's a real important project. The other grant is a new grant from the National Science Foundation, or the NSF, and that's also a center grant, and they've created the Center for Nanomotor Development. And nano.
We knew it'd be only a minute before the fancy words would come out, right?
That's right.
Center for Nano.
The Center for Nanomotor Development or Adaptive Nanomotor Development. So nanomotor particles are really, really, really small particles, and they work at the smaller than the cell level, and they can convert some of the energy that's generated through chemical processes into motion. So Dr. Sun-Young Kim, who's a professor of genetics and also has a background in biochemistry and cell biology, led that grant with a team of researchers. And so they will be looking at those aspects of those biochemical processes and how they can apply to neurologic disease, how they can apply to cancer, both cancer therapies, cancer diagnostics. And in addition to the science, that grant is really designed to take young researchers and train them not only in the science, but in how to apply that science so it can work in industry. So can stimulate biotech industry to develop diagnostics or new therapeutics. So that's another big, over $7 million grant over several years. So really two big grants. There's just a lot of good research going on down there.
So what kind of work went into getting this ready to apply?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of work if you're applying for like $100,000, but millions of dollars.
These are big proposals that go through a very rigorous review, and they get scored by a panel of experts, national experts, and then depending on how they score, they're eligible for funding or not. So this takes months and months and months of work, and really years of work. I mean, these kinds of grants are the culmination of years of work because there's a lot of science and a lot of evidence behind them that go into the proposals. But just preparing the proposals takes a lot of people a long time.
So I guess the question about the first grant, the one dealing with impact of alcohol on HIV and AIDS. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't looked at data in a while related to this. I used to do a lot of work in HIV/AIDS prevention in the early days, but I mean, basically, to my understanding, the HIV and AIDS is a largely controllable disease due to the medications now that are out there. And so is the focus of the grant then, is there an increase in alcohol use or decrease, or what's going on in terms of what are they looking for in terms of alcohol? Has there been some change in some dynamics or relationships?
Well, you're absolutely right. HIV is a controllable disease now. We have medications that people can live a very long and healthy life if they stay on their medications. That's a game changer for the disease back 20 years ago, when it was or 30 years ago it was really a fatal disease.
Yes.
But even those medications can have metabolic effects, and alcohol can have metabolic effects that can affect other problems that people living with HIV can develop. So it's really about improving the health of people with HIV and gaining a better understanding of the metabolic and physiologic processes that are behind HIV and behind alcohol use itself. So alcohol affects other diseases as well. So that kind of research improves our understanding not just of people living with HIV, but alcohol use in general.
Well, and especially down here, where you can get a drink to go.
That's right. We have a lot of alcohol.
Walk on the street.
A lot of alcohol, and unfortunately, a lot of HIV as well.
Yeah, yeah. And now on the other grant relating to cancer, I see there's a note that you gave us in terms of at the bedside, this research can help physicians predict which patients will more likely respond to anti-cancer therapies. Talk to us more about that, because cancer is everywhere and affects so many people. So is this getting to where we can be more precise in terms of diagnosis and treatment?
Precise is exactly the right word.
Okay, yeah.
The term people use now is precision medicine.
Yes.
So there are therapies that people are developing now that are really tailored to someone's specific cancer. So really looking at the markers on the tumor cells from someone's cancer and designing a drug specifically for that cancer. And those therapies are very, very effective. So understanding some of the basic biochemistry behind cancer and cancer cells and how they replicate, and also cancer drugs and how they work, really does allow us to tailor therapies to individual patients, and that can be very, very effective treatment. So there's a lot of work being done on cancer therapies at LSU School of Medicine. In fact, that's one of our goals in the coming years is to apply for the National Cancer Institute designation as an NCI designated cancer center. And that will allow us, along with these grants, to really bring some of the best and state-of-the-art treatments to the patients in the city, in the state, and in the entire region for cancer. So that's a huge project. And research like these 2 grants really just contributes to our environment and of ongoing research. And there's a lot of collaboration across the different departments and centers. So that will contribute. But cancer, like HIV, cancer is a huge problem in Louisiana, and we probably have 7,000 patients every year who leave the state to get care at places like MD Anderson or in Birmingham or up at St. Jude for pediatric cancers. And we would really like to develop a center where people don't have to leave the state; they can stay and get treatment at home, and that's one of our goals.
What are the kind of steps that need to be taken to get that designation?
Well, we started out by talking about money, and it takes a lot of money to recruit the researchers. But that's what we're doing now: is recruiting a lot of researchers, a lot of clinicians who have expertise in some of those therapies, like I was saying, of really designing drugs that are very precise for a specific person's cancer. So recruiting those people. And that takes years to build up that kind of expertise and go after that designation. So we look at this as kind of a 5-year goal.
And I'm sure people of that quality of expertise want to know, well, what do you have for me to work with? And that leads to another set of matter of resources, tools, equipment.
Yeah, the equipment and the space. We are. You guys are great. You're asking me all the right questions. So we are in about 6 months. We're going to finish complete renovation of laboratory space, about 180,000 square feet of brand new laboratory space. So we think we'll have probably the best biomedical lab space in the state of Louisiana, and that really will allow us to recruit. So it takes dollars to recruit people here, but it also takes, like you said, the facilities. It also takes the patients, and that's unfortunate, but we do have high rates of cancer. And we do have a lot of people who are traditionally underrepresented in cancer research and research in general. And there are a lot of investigators out there who see that as a great opportunity.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Really make a difference.
Yeah, just making sure that I know during the COVID era and with the vaccine development. And here locally, like I remember Dr. Verrett with Xavier and Dr. Kimbrough at the time with Dillard, and they made a big deal of saying, hey, we're going to take the vaccine early to demonstrate, that it's safe for Black folks because there's all that distrust, but also that it was developed, with Blacks as subjects, in the trials and what have you. And I guess my question is, so a similar effort's going to be made, maybe not so much on that big scale with the university presidents, but in terms of making sure that all areas are represented, all the communities are represented in this research.
I mean, that's really the focus as we develop our kind of goals for the Cancer Center. Our focus is on the people of this area and this region.
Yeah.
And so we have clinical trials and clinical trials networks that enroll more underrepresented persons into cancer clinical trials than elsewhere around the country. So that really is a focus, because if you look at cancer and cancer statistics, Blacks have high rates of cancer, but they also have high rates of cancer death. So some of that's biological, some of that's access to treatment. And so, LSU Health is really interested in saying, let's bring that treatment here. University Medical Center, Children's Hospital, those will be the places where we really want to focus our efforts and create the kind of center for the population of New Orleans.
Just the question, since we have the dean of the LSU School of Medicine here, let me just what percentage of, and this may not be a smart question or not, but what percentage of cancer that's diagnosed is cured? Is that a fair question?
It's a fair question. I'm probably not the right one to give the answer. But and cure in cancer is a term we use when we talk about 5-year survival rates and things like that. I think what's important to recognize is that African American populations have high rates of death from cancer. So you can look nationally and say, well, maybe our rates of cancer diagnoses are the same, but we have, but our percentage of cures is less than other parts of the country. Some of that's biological, and some of that we need to understand, like breast cancer, for instance.
Yes.
There are some breast cancers that are less susceptible to treatment. And in African Americans, they have high rates of those kinds of cancers.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of work being done on, how do we treat those cancers effectively?
Yes.
So it's a challenge.
And that's
It
why
really is a big
mammograms,
challenge.
expansion of mammogram screening is so critical, especially in the Black community.
Expansion of mammograms and screening to identify cancers early is critical, but also having the right treatment. Because even if you identify a cancer, if it's a cancer that's hard to treat, you're still not going to have success unless you have the right treatment.
We have a couple of Facebook comments. We are in 12:30 a.m. Radio. We're on the internet, so people listen to us across the United States and even abroad sometimes. And, of course, on Facebook Live. So some of the folks are actually watching us with our cameras as we talk today. And so sometimes they post questions and separate from comments. Toya wants to know, do you anticipate an increase or decrease in funding in the upcoming years?
Well, at LSU School of Medicine, we're optimists, right? So we anticipate an increase in funding. It's the research environment has become more and more challenging for a variety of reasons, but we're recruiting. We think we have the opportunity to recruit people who really want to come here. We're kind of gaining momentum in that recruitment, and we're recruiting some people who have large grants, and they'll be able to bring those grants with them.
And you're partnering with a major university in India.
And yeah, that's another big partnership that we're talking about. But so we anticipate that our funding will go up. We're investing in research, just like we're building out new research space. We're bringing people in. Those people will bring grants with them, but they'll also train graduate students and postdoctoral fellows and help those people be successful in getting their own grants here. So we anticipate an increase. The Indian Institute of Technology in Madras is a major university. It's really one of the leading research institutes in India. And over the last more than a year, we've been discussing with them, can we partner and kind of share resources and work on combined projects in areas like cancer and diagnostics and new treatments. And so we're starting to develop those partnerships and encourage our faculty to maybe work across institutions and tackle some of the world's
And now, why
major
India?
problems. Why India? Sometimes things just happen as an opportunity.
Yes.
Somebody knows somebody, and then invites a group of institutional leaders to come, and we met with them over several days and started to develop that relationship. And then we're back and forth by internet and email communications and phone calls for a while, and then really kind of arrived at saying, yeah, we really should work together in the future. So that is another thing that's promising for the school.
Oh, great. I know we're going to have to go to break soon, but another listener writes and says that a tour of your ever-expanding facilities would blow someone's mind, and that's from our friend Warren Bell.
Oh, Warren Bell. Yeah, Warren's our good friend. He leads the Spirit of Charity Foundation.
Yes.
And we have some fabulous facilities for not only for research but also for teaching. And of course, University Medical Center is a beautiful hospital that really provides patients with the kind of an environment to get treatment that they need. It's a far cry from Charity Hospital. As much as I love Charity Hospital and train there, we needed a place that where just the facility itself treats people with respect.
Right.
That's what we have at UMC.
Yeah. Well, we have one more question.
Yeah. So how can people learn more about what's going on? Can people volunteer? those people who may be living with HIV or whatever, or
I mean, a lot of volunteer opportunities. If you're interested in what's going on at LSU, go to our website. I should know it, but I just hit a button. I don't actually know. It's
That's all right.
www.lsuhsc. That's lsuhsc.edu, and you can learn a lot about the School of Medicine, about research, about the other schools. You know, we have a dental school, a nursing school, allied health school, public health school.
Now, what about? I'm a social worker also by training. What about? I've met Dr. Bailey with psychiatry.
Dr. Bailey, we recruited Dr. Bailey here from Drew University in California, probably about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. He has a real expertise in forensic psychiatry, in violence. So there's a lot of good work that he can do here. He's actually working now with Orleans Parish Prison to improve the behavioral health services there. And I think they've done some good work there. So yeah, Ron's a terrific guy.
You tell him Dr. Sanders hello.
I will.
All right.
I will.
Well, we do have a caller before you go. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. You're on with Dr. DiCarlo, Dean of the School of Medicine at LSU.
I wanted just a quick question as to what his thoughts were overall on how the medical industry, how it's going in the United States at this time. Does he see it growing better? Are we losing ground? Or just given where we are today, is it going forward, or do we at a standstill, or is it backing up overall? The whole medicine industry with it's CVS and all these places closing, and just trying to get a real understanding from his perspective as to what he see in terms of, are we going in the right direction, or are we going in the wrong direction? I'll hang up in this.
All right. Thanks, Reverend Calhoun.
Yeah, it's a challenging time, Reverend. I think it really is a challenging time for healthcare in general, for public health. But I think the U.S. medical system, particularly academic medicine, so medical schools, are still doing terrific research, really groundbreaking research. I think we're in a challenging time right now in terms of funding, but I don't think that's going to slow things down long term. I think maybe in the short term we've seen a little dip in funding at a lot of major universities, and the research maybe has slowed down a little bit. But I think it will pick back up. I think we'll be moving forward. Healthcare funding for healthcare has been a challenge for 50 years, or that's all I can remember. probably longer than that.
Yeah.
What the funding is going to be in the funding landscape for Medicare and Medicaid in the future is hard to predict right now. But I've been through, in my career in medicine, I've been through ups and downs, where people say things are going to collapse, the sky's falling, the healthcare industry is going to implode, and it keeps moving forward. It changes, and there's ups and downs, and I think we're going to see continued improvement in therapies and breakthroughs. I mean, just look at the COVID vaccine. Was really an amazing development to have a COVID vaccine come to market in less than a year. Yeah. And the reason for that, was industry that brought it to the marketplace. But because we have this body of research that had been done over years on the coronavirus and on mRNA technology,
yes.
That research was done at universities years ago, and people were able to take it and apply it and come up with a vaccine in a short period of time. So, so I'm optimistic that in the long run, we're going to continue to move forward, continue to provide good health care. There are certainly going to be ups and downs along the way.
And hopefully, I guess from the consumer perspective, as Reverend Calhoun is, that the costs will be manageable for the people on the street, for the patients who are seeking the care.
It's a huge challenge, and there aren't easy answers, but I think there will be answers.
Well, if I'm mistaken, tell me, but that makes this type of grants for research so much more important, because the research leads to looking at solutions, a variety of solutions and pathways, so you can get to the point of figuring out how you can deliver solutions at a reasonable cost.
And that's what academic medicine is all about. That's
Yes.
what LSU Health Science Center is all about. It's really advancing and bringing the best care to the patients here and advancing the science.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. DiCarlo.
It has been a
for,
pleasure.
Being with us today on the Good Morning Show. Great conversation
Yes.
about a couple of big major federal grants, $14 million of money headed toward LSU School of Medicine. Going to do some really good work to explore and dig deeper and do some precision medicine work
There you
to
go.
That's right.
define our future in better and better ways. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
All day long.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 AM and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A teenager is dead following a shooting in Algiers last night. New Orleans police say it happened on Texas Drive near Memorial Park Drive just after 8 p.m. Right now, there is no word on a suspect in this case or what led up to the deadly shooting. And just an hour earlier, around 7 p.m., the NOPD says a woman was shot on Hammond Street in New Orleans East. She was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Her condition is unknown. Tonight, many local law enforcement agencies will take part in the National Night Out Against Crime. It is a coast-to-coast effort every October to strengthen community relationships in an effort to keep people safe. Departments in Jefferson, St. Tammany, St. Bernard, Plaquemines, and St. John the Baptist parishes will all host events later today. The NOPD is hosting its own event on October 21st. For more details, you can go to WDSU.com. And finally, with Election Day almost here, one candidate for Orleans Parish Clerk of Court will be in court. Calvin Duncan is running ads saying he was exonerated of a murder conviction, but some state leaders argue that is inaccurate, and they want a judge to issue a temporary restraining order to take those ads down. A judge will consider the TRO today in civil court. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fits-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
JP Morrell, he's not for me. I work hard every day, and while I'm struggling to pay my bills and put food on the table, JP didn't even show up to hold a utility committee meeting for 6 months. Now my gas bill got a $12 surcharge I never asked for. Makes sense. JP was cozying up to Delta Gas and Entergy instead. JP, quit playing in our faces. It's time for real leadership. Pastor Gregory Manning. He respects us, will fight for us, and he will never sell us out. Paid for by Friends for Gregory Manning.
You're invited to step back into New Orleans history for Community Day at the Dewdrop Inn with Tulane University Special Collections, presented by the Primo Memorial Series. Saturday, October 18th from 12 to 2 p.m. Celebrate the Dewdrop Inn legacy with the live musical show. Enjoy a brunch buffet and explore archival materials. Free admission, but space is limited. For more information, visit library.tulane.edu/Dewdrop Community Day.
Vote for Kenneth Cutnam. On Saturday, October 11th, a vote for Kenneth Cutnam is a vote for lower energy bills, lower sewage and water board rates, affordable housing, decreased crime, and a higher citizen wage. Vote Kenneth Cutnam, number 31. For City Council at Large, Division 2, vote Kenneth Cutnam.
This measure has been approved by Kenneth Cutnam.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Dr. Pastor Professor Torrin Sanders.
Good morning.
Back again today. Thank you for joining us on the Good Morning Show. You are listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. We're going to catch you up on some other news developments. Yesterday, we talked about the Laci case, and the Louisiana Democratic Party called for an investigation. The Louisiana Black Caucus was seeking a Laci investigation. And Pastor Sanders, we have some developments.
Yeah, well, now also the Attorney General for the state of Louisiana, Liz Murrill, is also saying that her office will now also investigate independently what's going to be going on. What happened with the situation. But also you mentioned the Black Caucus, and apparently they intend to introduce a piece of legislation in the upcoming session, I guess it'll be early next year. They're going to call it the Laci Law. And it's not clear about exactly what it will do, but they're saying that it aims to increase accountability for law enforcement officers and departments that make false reports or wrongful accusations. And of course, I'm sure that's already a crime to some extent. Right. But this law may add on something there. And of course, for those who may not be familiar, this case last Friday, Mr. Laci's attorney, the deceased Mr. Laci's attorney, Mr. Ory, Matthew Ory, released a video about 44 seconds long that shows that Mr. Laci was quote unquote nowhere near when the accident allegedly occurred, for which he was arrested as the cause for. He was almost 100 yards behind it, according to, and you can see in this video that he came after the accident occurred. Yet, of course, that's not what was stated in police reports, and of course that led to his own arrest at a time in his life, young life, where he was expecting to be in the draft for the NFL, and had just had a great season at LSU as a wide receiver. And so just a tragic case where, because of the stress, seemingly it seems as though that played a part into his death by suicide. And so it's just a tragedy. And so hopefully when we see things are happening, people are paying attention, because this could have been anyone, any one of us, any one of our children. Just because he had a fancy car and, well-known car and everything, I can't speculate, but why would someone just, put him in it, even though he was nowhere in it? So stay tuned for us to see what happens with that, because, you go in a court of law and people trust what police reports say and trust what sworn officers say, especially state police officers say. And here it seems by all apparent indications that there was a lot of lying going on. And for what?
And a lost life.
Yes.
So I'm going to read a part of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus statement so that you can hear what they said in the statement. Quote, recent evidence released by his attorney raises serious questions about the accuracy, integrity, and fairness of the investigation conducted by the Louisiana State Police. The new information, including video footage and witness statements, appears to contradict earlier allegations that led to criminal charges against Mr. Laci prior to his untimely death. And separate from that, the caucus chair, Representative Edmund Jordan, Democrat out of Baton Rouge, called the inconsistencies in the case, quote, and said that they, quote, demand an immediate and transparent review. And he went on to say, we are requesting a formal investigation as well as public hearings because we believe that a truly independent inquiry, free from internal influence, is essential to restore public trust. So that went out on Monday, and from the caucus after the Louisiana Democratic Party. And, of course, Attorney General Liz Merrill responded and pretty quickly. So I have to give her some props for that.
Yeah.
And said that she will indeed review this situation.
Yes, I remember people were saying, well, he didn't stop and everything. I mean, I've driven around accidents. I mean, unless you can see somebody maybe in immediate distress or whatever, but you're not the police, you're not the ambulance. People want to be good Samaritan, but that doesn't prove doesn't prove anything there. So it's just really troubling that, but thankful that there's cameras everywhere and that this has come out now.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to keep an eye on this because we have the unfortunate loss of life with Karen Lacy, who unfortunately took his own life. I mean, a lot of pressure on anyone with all that you have going on with a situation like that, but to have a high-profile life, a successful college academic and sports career on the verge of launching into the NFL, and to have something like this happen, so tragic. So we're going to hear from the chair of the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus right now.
All right.
State Representative Edmund Jordan. Mr. Chair, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Thank you all so much for pursuing justice on behalf of young Karen Lacy. I see that there was some immediate action from the AG, and that part is good to hear. But to give us a little bit more insight about why the Legislative Caucus took this up and what you all hope to get from it.
Well, what we're trying to do at the end of the day is make sure that this was done in a fair and transparent way. And I understand that there's been, another video released today by Louisiana State Police, which I have had an opportunity to take a look at. But it doesn't change our position from the fact that we need a public hearing that's transparent, that everyone can see out in the open. So we still maintain that position.
Okay. And are you pleased, satisfied, not disappointed with the AG's statement that there will be a review?
I'm satisfied with her position that there'll be a review. My concern is that the review will be done. It'll be an internal investigation that the public won't be able to see the results of it. And then at the end of the day, you'll get a report and a conclusion, but you may not know what went into it, So it's like getting the cake at the end, but not knowing the ingredients that were put into it. So I think it's better. I think we can do both. This is not an either-or approach. So she can do her investigation, which is fine. But I think at the same time, if we have something that's public, we get the best of both worlds with that.
Great. And State Rep, this is Dr. Torrance Sanders. I'm co-hosting here with Will. And I just read from an article that the Black Caucus is looking to introduce a so-called Lacy Law in the upcoming session. Could you tell us more about what you're hoping to achieve with that legislation if it's passed?
Well, look, we've had some people talk about that. I think we've got some other folks that are better suited to really talk about the Lacy Law. But what I will tell you at the end of the day is this. Whether it's been with Ronald Green or whether it's been with some other cases, Bowman in the past, and we've even got a more recent case where state police has they exonerated 2 sheriff's deputies who strip searched and beat a guy, and the feds came back later and indicted those guys, and they're in prison now. I just think I want to really just stick to the fact that we really just need to have some transparency in all of this process, and state police needs to reassure the confidence that we had once in the past. And the other thing I will say is this: look, and I'm not casting any aspersions on Colonel Hodges, but we made some significant strides. At least it feels like we did under Colonel Davis, and so I hope that those policies are still being implemented and pursued, and they hadn't gone back to the former way of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a most unfortunate situation. I'm glad that you all are on top of this. We'd like you to keep us informed here at WBOK 12:30 a.m. as this moves through the process. And maybe that's not just moving through your legislative caucus process. Maybe it's looking at what happens with the Louisiana State Police, their additional investigation and research, and what goes on from Liz Murrow's effort with a review. With the attention that it's getting, it's more likely that there will be more eyes and more ears paying attention to this. Unfortunately, we lost a wonderful, youthful life, but it's important to get to the bottom of this so we can prevent these kinds of things from happening in the future.
Yeah, well, look, I hope we can. I will tell you, what we want to do is to make sure that statements we get from state police or from any law enforcement officer that's presented to a judge to get an arrest warrant that is not fabricated, that is true, that is accurate, and that's part of what we want to try to accomplish with this investigation.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thanks for calling in and getting us some up-to-date info.
I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it. Have a blessed day. All right. That was State Rep Edmund Jordan, who leads the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus, talking with us about the Lacey investigation that is being launched by the AG after the Louisiana Black Caucus called for such an investigation.
Yes.
So, that's one of the things about being the minority party in a supermajority Republican House, supermajority Republican Senate, and the Republicans having control of the governorship. You still have a voice.
That's right.
You still have a voice. And when you speak up, people can listen. And you might not have the votes to make some important things happen, but you can push back on some of the things that are coming before the state legislature or coming up in our society, in our state. But on something like this, they're not in session.
That's right. Yeah.
But the Legislative Black Caucus has a role, and they're taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yes. And Mr. Lacey was a beloved young man by many. So, yes.
Yep. Well, we thank Representative Jordan for calling in. We're going to take a break now. And when we come back, we're going to get back to some of the news you want to know, should know, must know. And we'll be happy to take your calls. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. It is 8:47. You got somewhere to be at 8. Better hurry up. You're listening to WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day
long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
We'll see another day with scattered showers and thunderstorms possible throughout the day. There's also a dense fog advisory for the North Shore and river parishes. A lot of that will fade as we get later on into the morning, on into the afternoon. Highs for today will still be on the hot side, mid to upper 80s. We'll see another day of warm temperatures heading into Wednesday. By the weekend, though, lower humidity is expected. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch.
Some combos are too good to miss. Now you can pull up a chair to the front porch anytime.
Just search WBOK Media and subscribe to the Front Porch Podcast.
Download, share, and hit us with a 5-star rating because New Orleans culture deserves to be heard loud and clear.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Looking to join an organization that is committed to help promote economic development in New Orleans East? Look no further. The Greater New Orleans East Business Alliance is a member-based nonprofit organization made up of business owners and local professionals united for the purpose to promote business development in Eastern New Orleans. If you want to become a member, call us at 504-957-3568.
I'm Michelle Woodfork. As NOPD chief, I managed a budget of over $180 million, accountable to the department, the city council, and most of all, to you. As sheriff, I'll bring that same discipline, real transparency, and direct accountability. Because every dollar should protect the public, not be wasted through incompetence. I'm Michelle Woodfork, and you deserve a sheriff you can trust. Paid for by Michelle Woodfork.
Hey, everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
And we're back. We're back.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton with Dr. Sanders. And we are on the Good Morning Show. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. We got just a few more minutes with you before the front porch is going to be coming your way with Graylin and Kimber. And but, you know, there's so much in the news. I mean, we can't get to everything in this. It seemed like we got a lot of time.
we covered a lot today, though.
And then, you know, one segment, then another segment and all. But let's make sure we update folks on the 10 Commandments. So, as you know, the Louisiana State Legislature and the Governor Jeff Landry signed into law a law that requires all classrooms, public classrooms, kindergarten through 12th and higher education, to post the 10 Commandments in the classrooms. And according to that law, it's very specific about the size. So it must be 11 inches by 14 inches. It must be posters of the 10 Commandments, and it's to be placed in every classroom. But some folks said, oh, no, not quite. And so that was challenged. And so that has been delayed. Yeah. Well, now there is a new development.
Yeah. Well, it was ruled unconstitutional, in June of 2025.
Right.
And so now, so the full court is now scheduled to rehear the case, and it will likely reach the Supreme Court. So it remains to be seen. It ain't over yet. The fight is not over yet. And, you know, of course, this is a part, you know, which I would say is a part of the so-called Christian nationalist movement. It's interesting, you know, the supporters of it say, we just want, you know, people to, it's educational. and everything. But at the same time, we know on the other, then they go someplace else and say, oh, but of course it's for, people should know the Ten Commandments because it's religious and we want to promote our faith and everything. And hey, I'm a pastor, been a pastor for almost 29 years. I want to promote the faith. But the question is, if we allow me to promote my faith in the classroom, then what's to stop someone else of a faith different than mine from promoting their faith in the classroom? And then we can have 5 faiths being, if we're going to turn school into that, public schools into that,
right? Then
where will we end up? Who's going to choose? And even though I'm a Christian, but I also believe in us as a citizen that I should respect other people's rights and have a sense of fairness about things. So that's the larger issue. A lot of people saying, "Oh, well, if you love the Lord, then we should put it everywhere." Well, yeah, I teach my children. But in the public square, there's a responsibility to be fair to all, and so that's the issue. Now, if the law said, "Hey, everybody's major, statements, proclamations can be put up," that's another thing. Then that would be truly educational. But this is the issue of, does it violate what's called the Establishment Clause in the Constitution, where there's government has a boundary in terms of its imposition of religion in the public sphere and in terms of private people's lives. And I value that. That's, I don't want the government coming in and telling me what I can do and everything. And so those are the issues there. It's not just, yes, we all want our children to act better and be moral people and grow up to love the Lord and everything. But how are we going to do that in the public square that's appropriate and that's fair for everyone? Because being fair is a part of my faith also.
Right. Yeah. I grew up in a faith household. I went to public school. Of course, I went to St. Aug, private Catholic school. And I don't remember the 10 Commandments being in every classroom, not even in private Catholic school. The legislators who voted for this, I want to know, do they have the 10 Commandments in their bedroom, in their living room, in their dining room? I mean, so you want to impose the 10 Commandments on other people. And of course, who among us want to go down the list every day and say, I've lived up to each of these commandments daily?
That's right. Well, there's none righteous. No, not one. So, you'll saw me preaching here. All of our righteousness is as filthy rags. So no, but I love the 10 Commandments. But the question is, then what is the appropriate display of our faith in terms of in public arenas, in terms of as citizens of these United States and everything? And so that's the issue there. What I heard that some people had done when the law first went into action is that they put the 10 Commandments up in its original Hebrew. So unless you read Hebrew,
So you want the real?
You want the original Hebrew, But I don't know if the law required that to be put in English, Well,
but, Well, we're gonna have to keep watching that one. Just when it seems that something's rude, unconstitutional, it comes up again, and it's like, well, let's see if we can get it to be unrude, unconstitutional, make it constitutional, and implement this.
It's just that, and I've heard my fellow preaching colleagues from Reverend Howard John Wesley and others, Otis Moss III, say, even when we talk about Christianity, it seems like some of our brothers and sisters have a different version of Christ than I do. That they're not reading the same Bible that we are. It's kind of like the slave master's Bible versus the slave's Bible. And they took out the so-called slave Bible, they took out 80% of the Bible because they knew that if the slaves read the whole thing, that they wouldn't be slaves very long, and that they would have a true understanding. And I'm saying all that to say that we have to watch the type of quote unquote Christianity some people are trying to project onto us. Is it the Charlie Kirk Christianity? Is it the slave master Christianity? Or is it a true representation of what Jesus was saying? And I'll leave it right there for on this Good Tuesday morning.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm that Matthew 25. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was sick, you visited me. And I was a stranger, you took me in. The least of these is what we're going to be judged by.
All right. We got our mini sermon in anyway.
Well, yes.
All right. Well, folks, I want to remind you that today is the last day to request a mail ballot. So I suggest you go to City Hall on Perdido and make that request if you're not going to be available to vote on Saturday. Remember, it's not just for senior citizens. We've reviewed several times now the different eligibility categories. You can look that up on the Secretary of State's website. You can look up Go Vote. And it will come up if you do a couple of quick searches. And we want to remind you that Saturday is Election Day. Tremendous turnout, more than doubled early voting turnout with the number of voters who came out September 27th through October 4th. Let's see if we can do more of that on Saturday. And those of you who have access to mail ballots, go ahead and get that in. Remember, the request has to be made before 4:30 p.m. today. And you can turn it in any day between now and 4:30 p.m. on Friday. Thanks for Reverend Calhoun for calling in today, and thank you for Dr. DiCarlo from LSU School of Medicine and Mr. Williamson from United Way of Southeast Louisiana. And as always, we want to thank our Facebook listeners and watchers. We've got Jacqueline, Patrice, Fern, Andrews, Sean, Karen, Dr. Martinez, see you out there, Toya, Warren, and Curran, and a couple more, of course. But we got to make way for Kimba and Graylin and the front porch. We're out of here. Lord willing, we'll be back tomorrow morning. WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
All day long.
Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBOK 12:30 a.m.
From the campus of Xavier University. WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Chicago's Black Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an ice-free zone order banning federal immigration agents from using city-owned property.
What we are seeing is a more radical attempt to undermine our democracy.
The move follows recent ICE raids and aims to protect residents from enforcement without valid warrants. The White House condemned Black Virginia Attorney General candidate Jay Jones over 2022 texts, joking about shooting GOP Speaker Todd Gilbert. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the remarks shocking and alarming. Jones has apologized for the messages, saying he regrets sending them. President Trump has urged him to drop out of the race. And Young Thug will headline a home